Hey everybody, welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by criticizing current players as well as production. Non-stop, all the time criticism of production. That's what you're getting tonight. I'm one of your three co-hosts, Ryan Stacy, the resident Survivor superfan who's extremely pissed off. I'm going to yell at some clouds tonight, and I'm joined by two probably more level-headed people, Derek Kupchak and Josh Wessler.
I shake my fist and I bite my thumb at the being production, but I'm not quite as angry as Ryan, but he has a point. We have a new theme for season 44 of Survivor. It's Survivor 44, voter suppression. I can't wait for 45, gerrymandering.
Yeah, we're in. This was kind of gerrymandering.
It was kind of gerrymandering and voter suppression.
And then Josh, who has an announcement to make.
Yes. I'm leaving the Castaway Consultants. No, just kidding. Even though I'm sure everyone wants me to. No. So we had a very nice day here in Minnesota. It got up to like 83 or 84 degrees. So what do I do?
Horrible.
It was amazing. So what do I do?
Horrible.
I go immediately after work and go have a drink on a patio, because that's what you do in Minnesota when it doesn't feel like the dead of winter anymore. So I went and did that after work today, and on my way home, I'll just say I had a very, very odd car issue that I had no idea what was going on with. Delayed me for like an hour on the side of the road while I was trying to figure out what was going on, and missed the beginning of the episode, the first like 20 minutes of the episode. So I jumped in at a certain point. I'll catch you up once we get to that point here in the episode, but disclaimer that I might not be talking a whole lot at the beginning, or maybe I'm just asking a lot of questions from Derek and Ryan.
Good. Let's Josh.
Yeah, nothing happens in the first 20 minutes. Nothing important that sets up the entirety of the other 40.
No big plot twist.
Nope. No unprecedented twists. No big production oversteps. Nothing like that.
Okay. So I'm going to just throw out the spoilers right now, because this episode sucked, and I'm going to get into why it sucked.
The episode doesn't suck, but spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Okay, Ryan.
So this episode sucks because I thought we were watching Survivor, not Big Brother. There is so many goddamn twists in this episode that it's hard to keep track. They keep throwing curveball after curveball to try and make this so fun and exciting. And Jeff Probst has the audacity to say at Tribal Council, this is real. The show's about people. It's like, no, it's not. Go to hell. This is about Advantage Geddon. Jeff, you are terrible at your job. I hope you hear this. I sent in 2 emails to that Survivor Shoutout podcast, basically ripping Jeff a new one and saying he's terrible at his job. I don't even want to go on Survivor right now until they fix their crap, because I'm so sick of all of this junk in this show. I really hope the rumors are true and they're going to dial it back starting in 45, because this episode was utter nonsense and a bunch of horse crap. I would use a lot more expletives, but this is a family-friendly podcast. But just know, I would be swearing every swear word I know to talk about this episode, because I'm so irritated with production, and they think this makes good television. It does not. I want to watch these people have a normal ass vote and just like play the game, instead of Mario Party Chance Time, Big Brother BS, whatever the hell this was. This is garbage. Do better on every level.
And Ryan steps off of his soapbox, because what we need to, I think, be clear about is that this is not any fault of this cast. This cast remains extremely entertaining, extremely fun, extremely flawed. And I really think the result we got tonight was good baseline Survivor, right? But we had 5 votes, and only 4 of those votes were controlled by the people who were available to make those votes. It feels weird. We haven't had a big group vote, despite being one-worlded and merged now for an episode. And let's talk about Matt for a second, because Matt not only made the merge, but went to several tribal councils. The first time that he got to cast a vote was tonight. This was his first vote. So he went home this far into the game after having never voted, essentially. And that's also not Survivor.
I just want a normal ass vote. It's the merge. Let's just do it. The merge can be exciting without all this crap.
And that's the other thing. We've got 3 tribes that are coming together with completely different social dynamics. We had a forced mutiny in there as well. The dynamic was going to be interesting regardless.
Yeah, so these guys got me caught up on the gist of what happened here with the whole twist. And maybe it's because I didn't watch through it as it happened. I don't necessarily hate it. I hate when and how it happened. So like I'm okay with the format, but kind of like what Ryan and Derek are saying, I wish it wasn't so close to the merge, just because this is such an interesting time to see how everything just develops organically and on its own, that when you force it down to this, I would want to have a lot more of the intertribe dynamics. You know, maybe if there was a swap in the pre-merge where everyone was crossing over and you're getting a lot more of the social game going back and forth, you know, this would be a lot more impactful. Maybe if we were doing 39 days and these people haven't only been together for, I don't know, like 2 days at this point, it would make a lot more sense, because then the social game actually would matter in this scenario. I think it was Jamie who said something about like, this just shows how important this social game is. Like, it's really going to show in this vote. No, not really. Not really at all.
The person with arguably the best social game on the board went home.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, if and I don't know what the perfect scenario is, because you just start shrinking down more and more with the number of people who would be available. But like, you know, if this got pushed back, you know, maybe like 2 votes or something, then I'd be maybe intrigued to see how it could play out. Maybe executed a little bit differently, but yeah, it didn't really sit well.
I'm over the new era, Jeff. I'm over it. Go back. You know, we've gone too far. No. You have gone too far. I will take no blame for this. You have gone too far, Jeff. There's no we.
But with that, I think it's probably best just to get into the episode and talk about the interesting bits, because despite how we feel about it, there were some right and wrong decisions and some pretty clear-cut bad decisions made in this episode that I'm excited to talk about.
All right, you guys ready to jump into the episode?
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right. The tribe gets back after tribal council, and Jam, to his credit, keeps things super light. He makes everyone laugh about, you know, being the second half of the split vote in the previous vote. So I really like how Jam approaches this after tribal council. And then Matt gets his vote back as well. That's the other update. And Matt and Franny, like Derek mentioned, Matt has not been able to vote this entire game. He can now vote. It's going to last a really long time. Rip. So Brandon is talking. It's him, Matt, Jam, and Kane. The 4 of them are all hanging out and talking. And Brandon mentions that when he found the hidden immunity idol, there was a fake one in there as well, that you could, you know, put back in the bag and cause some chaos. Matt realizes, oh, I have the fake idol because there wasn't 2 in my bag. Someone played me. And then he thinks back to when he was doing the idol hunt and Danny was kind of manipulating how he was hunting for the idol. He realizes Danny has the real idol. I've been played. I have the fake one.
And this is really interesting because we gave Danny props at the time for how he handled the situation, because not only did he plant the fake idol successfully, but he saw who found it.
Yep.
But
it's come back to bite him.
Well, and this is actually a little more ham-fisted than we realized, because he was the one who told Matt, oh, we really got to stick our hands down in between these roots. Mm-hmm. So in retrospect, that's not as good of a move as we thought. Maybe just let someone find it.
Yeah, subtlety.
I mean, that's good. I didn't even know that any of this stuff happened. So I was kind of wondering what was going to happen. And I mean, there was this entire thing once you get to trouble with Matt's bag. Sorry, Carolyn. Bag. I don't know.
Bag.
We never covered that last week, by the way.
As Minnesotans, I don't care.
Yeah. I don't know if it would have actually mattered, but I wish we had one of these fake outs that actually played out one of these times.
Hopefully we'll still get that with Jamie. There's still a chance. Danny wants to take out Lauren next because she has 2 votes. She's got the extra vote. Honestly, Lauren should have played this at the last tribal council. Just burn this. If everyone knows you have it, just burn it. Because she was vulnerable at the last one. Just do it. You know, she was almost a target in this episode. So get rid of it. In fact, she should have played it tonight at the very least. So this has got to go. You can't hold on to these public advantages. You just can't.
Agreed.
So there's talk about doing that. But then there's also talk about blindsiding Danny instead because he's got the real idol.
So Matt, and to catch Josh up, Matt does divulge to a group of people, we should let Danny think that he's controlling the vote, because then we can come after him and he will never see it coming. He doesn't realize that I realized. So good on Matt for at least getting this information out in the open, at least to his his confidants before he goes home, because now everyone else is aware that Danny has an idol. I think this was well played by Matt, given the circumstance.
So everyone does know now.
A big group of people.
Yeah, at least.
So basically everyone.
So this is the group. This is the group that knows. So it's the entire Tika group: Carson, Carolyn, and Jam Jam, as well as Kane and Franny, and then Matt. That could be a group going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if this group takes control of the game and maybe brings in like a Heidi. So yeah, I think Kane, Franny, Carolyn, Jam Jam, and Carson, and maybe Heidi. I think that's a dangerous group to watch out for. I think this could be like the final 5 or 6.
It could be.
Especially given who goes home tonight.
Yeah. All right, let's get to this bull crap. Immunity challenge. There's 11 people left in the game, but we're going to divide them into 2 teams of 5. One person from each group is going to win individual immunity. However, the last player standing overall will win immunity for their group. All of them will win, all 5. They'll all be safe, but they won't get to vote. They will all have to sit out on the jury bench and watch tribal council, but they won't be able to have any control over who goes home.
Jeff refers to this as safety without power, but for the entire group.
Yep. But they will get to watch it. Carson is the leftover person because they do a rock draw to decide who's going to be on which group. Carson is left over. He gets to pick which side will be the last side standing, and he will ride or die with them. He's going to end up getting it right with the orange group he picks, and Franny from the orange group is going to end up winning the challenge. So Carson goes with them, and he is also safe.
But what a great segue into what is a huge mistake and a huge missed opportunity. Ryan was thinking out loud as we were standing there, because for those of you who watched it live, Franny was the last one left, and there were 4 members of the purple grouping, the purple gerrymander, still left. And Ryan said, she should throw this.
Yep. So on the orange group, we have Heidi, Kane, Danny, Carolyn, and Franny. All of them drop except Franny. So Franny's still in the game. She's got immunity locked in. She is safe, period. The other side, Lauren, Brandon, Jamie, Jam Jam. Most importantly, her closest ally, Matt. If Franny drops, she gives immunity to the entire purple group. Matt is safe. She gets to go to tribal council where she is safe. And she gets to control the vote. Franny should have thrown this challenge. This was a huge, huge blunder. Matt goes home, and it's solely Franny's fault.
And don't get me wrong. If she drops immediately when it gets down to 1, it might look really bad to that small cohort, and maybe you don't want to do that. But I mean, when purple gets down to 2, or we mentioned during one of the transitions to a skinnier part of the beam, you could have absolutely feigned this drop, and then she's going into a beautiful circumstance, and you can explain this as a really awesome, fortuitous, opportunistic move at final tribal council. So when Ryan suggested this, I was thinking absolutely she should have dropped. She's too competitive for her own good. Building this up as a physical piece of your game does not outweigh losing potentially your closest alliance member. So she feigned the strategic game and the social game in order to build up her physical resume. She's already won individual immunity. You don't need to do that.
Yep.
So this was a like, how often can we say this? You won immunity. That was a horrible move.
I am probably going to give her worst player of the episode, and she won immunity. That is probably going to happen. I'm not going to promise it because we got to leave a little bit of suspense here.
Yep.
But it's likely.
Bury the lead, Ryan.
A horrendously bad move. And we're big fans of the challenge throw on this podcast, so to see this missed opportunity go by is a bummer.
We are big fans of the well-placed challenge throw, and guess what? We just waved that one.
This is probably the best opportunity we've ever seen in 44 seasons of Survivor to throw the challenge.
Certainly one of the biggest. We'd have to go back, but this will go on the Rushmore of missed challenge throw opportunities.
Now, alternate scenario, because we've talked so much about this showman's the obvious duo and everything like that, but is this the worst thing for Franny's game?
No,
to have Matt go home.
Franny can bounce back from this, but that is still a number.
True.
That's results-oriented thinking.
It absolutely is, but like if you think like Matt needs to go at some point, or people are going to be like talking about taking me out instead of him potentially, like maybe just get that target off your back. I know I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do, but I'm just kind of spitballing that it's not the worst result of what ended up happening for her.
No, she could still win, and her target has been reduced for sure with Matt going home here. But she lost her closest ally, and that's huge.
And if she's in the final 3 with Matt, I think Franny wins at this point, hands down. And the other thing that we glossed over with relation, we primed the pump for a Danny blindside. This would have been a great opportunity to let Danny drive the vote and try to vote him out. Just throwing that out there. You don't think that some of the people over there would have been willing to work with her on that? I think they would have.
If they had gone home, you could have gotten rid of Danny in a blindside. You could have gone after Kane to drop a Ratu number. If you wanted to go after Tika and get out like a Carson, like a huge shot like Carson, you could have. But the most important thing is Franny would have been safe and Matt would still be here. So just horrendously bad. But Brandon is going to win for purple and eventually drop. So Franny's group is safe. Purple is going to tribal council. Brandon has immunity, so that leaves Lauren and Jamie from Ratu, and then we have Matt and Jam on their own. So one of those 4 is going home tonight. It's Matt.
Yes,
it's obviously Matt. Like that. Like I watched that. I'm like, oh, bye, Matt.
And by the way, everything we just said, Brandon condensed it down into a line. Wow, I'm actually in a pretty good spot. I got 3 Ratu people and immunity. This is great.
And we can take out Matt and break up the showmans.
Absolutely.
Jam's got no one. Like at best, he's got a strained-ish relationship with Carolyn. We get rid of Matt, who everybody likes. This is like the biggest no-brainer vote of all time.
It's one of them, yeah.
They made it suspenseful enough that I actually didn't know if I was assuming that it was gonna be Matt, but like there was a point there where I wasn't too sure. They did a really good job at least kind of just putting up the veil.
Yeah, because there's another advantage coming up here that threw a wrench into plans, which is another just stupid advantage. We'll get to that. It is really funny because Franny definitely has a little bit of buyer's remorse after winning the challenge, and they all have a picnic together. They get separated into 2 different beaches. She's like, I might have screwed up.
Might have.
You did.
Might have.
But on the Orange Tribe, after their picnic, there is a note in the picnic. And basically it's like, all right, there's a new advantage in the bird cage. We have like 20 million keys hidden in the jungle. We're going to play a Mario Party mini game to run around and find these keys. And whoever gets lucky wins.
Whoever finds the gold key in the group or something,
You know what's crazy about the Mario Party reference? I can imagine Ryan being Waluigi in some ridiculous bottle room mini game with little launch pads and tunnels, running around grabbing a key, and you have to run it to a treasure chest in the middle.
And it's
Mario
all
Party
luck-based.
Yep.
I know that the Nintendo CEO is a big fan of the podcast, so I'll put that mini game in the next Mario Party.
I'm pretty sure this one already exists.
I'm sure it does.
Wow.
And this is where I did start watching the episode, by the way. So hello, I'm here now.
Josh can contribute now.
All right, so this is 100% luck. Heidi's going to end up getting the advantage in front of Franny. So everyone, this is not a secret advantage, but it is the control of vote advantage. And basically, you get to tell someone who's voting who to vote for, and they have to do it. This is so stupid. You don't have to do anything on Survivor, or at least you shouldn't. Like, I just hate that mentality. It's like the knowledge is power. You can't lie. It's like, what is this? Are we playing a board game or something? Like, no. I thought Jeff likes to say, like, oh, we don't like to implement too many rules on Survivor. Besides, like, don't hit somebody and you can't conspire to share the prize. Like, he likes to say that. Okay, Jeff, then frickin' stop this crap. Control a vote. My ass. This is some Big Brother bull crap. Get it out of here. Send it back into the Big Brother house where Julie can use the Zing bot and mess with this thing. And, give this advantage the diamond power of veto. I'm just saying Big Brother things. I have no idea what any of this means. And get it out of here.
Is the Zing bot a thing?
Yeah. As someone who's never watched an episode of Big Brother, I'm just believing everything you say at this point.
The Zing bot is a robot that goes into the Big Brother house and insults you. I don't know why. I have no idea if it does anything. And then the diamond power veto is a thing you win, I think. There's like veto, but then there's golden veto, and I think there's a silver veto, and then there's a diamond veto. I don't know. All I think was like Minecraft swords. Just diamond sword.
God, it sounds like an airline boarding order. Like, do they have an armed services veto power as well?
I don't know. They have a whole bunch of dumb bull crap in Big Brother, and Jeff must have snuck into the Big Brother house when no one was looking. Maybe he was disguised as Zingbot and stole the control of vote advantage from them and brought it to the island for some dumb reason. Jeff bot.
It does feel like Jeff just went home and Googled, how can you mess with someone's vote? And then all of this stuff from the 2020 election came up, and he's like, oh, gerrymandering? steal a vote, voter intimidation. This all sounds great. Extra votes. Next thing you know, we're gonna get like old castaways, and there'll be dead people voting.
Well, yeah, dead people voting.
Well, that was the thing with when this came up as an advantage when Heidi opened it and read it. I'm just like, that's just a steal a vote. It's not control. Like I get it. You're not actually the one voting, and the big twist, I guess, is that everyone knows where the vote is going.
Yeah.
Or I didn't think that was going to be the case until it actually happened. But it's essentially just a steal a vote.
It's essentially just a steal a vote, but the way it's presented is so dumb. I really wish Lauren had been like, no. I'm not going to vote that way.
And we're going to spend the next, I guess, 10 minutes of the episode over with this winning cohort, figuring out what Heidi should do. And for the second time this episode, I actually think that Ryan reached the correct conclusion before I did. I'd love to say that I was right there with him the whole time. But let's talk about this now, because I mean, we're going to get to tribal council. We're going to have some touching moments, yada, yada, yada. Jeff says it's time to vote. And Heidi stands up and does what?
Yeah, she says, I'm going to play my control vote. I get to control somebody's vote. I'm picking Lauren. And Lauren, I'm going to have you vote for Jam Jam. And Lauren asks Fairly, like, okay, what about my extra vote? Everyone knows I have an extra vote. And Jeff clarifies, no, she only gets to control one vote. So she could play the extra vote however she wanted to. Personally, I don't think Heidi should play this thing. Because all this does, she's potentially made an enemy of Lauren. She had the vote directed at Jam Jam, who didn't go home. Matt did, and this was an attempt to save Matt, which failed. So now she's got Jam Jam and Lauren potentially as enemies. If she had just let this ride, she doesn't make any enemies. And honestly, she wasn't going to be able to change much anyway. The control vote ended up having no effect. So honestly, I would have, some of these advantages, they're traps, they're bait. You shouldn't play it. Like the idea, ideally, when there is something set up in a bird cage for you to get, I think the best play is to get it and then immediately burn it, whether that means not using it or playing it immediately just so it doesn't matter, just to get the target off your bat, but to make sure no one else has it. I think that's the best way to play in this advantage heavy era of Survivor, is to just burn it. Burn it.
And the reason I really don't like how Heidi played this, I think if she was going to do something, because I think Heidi is not viewed as a big threat in this game right now. Now, this could just be a trick of the edit. I don't know. Maybe Heidi wins. But she needs some moves. She needs to make a big move. So if she's thinking that herself, right, she's self-aware, realizing, okay, I need to, up my cred a little bit. She needs to play this. What you need to do, because she's a member of Soka, there are 3 Ratu members over there. She needs to pick one of the Ratu members and force them to vote for another Ratu member, and then hope that Jam Jam and Matt get the hint and vote for that person. Now, Lauren has an extra vote, so it ends up being a tie, revote, and probably doesn't matter. But if you want to make a big move, forcing Ratu to eat itself would be the best move for Heidi. That being said, if everyone knows about Lauren's extra vote and it doesn't make a difference, this isn't the chance for the big move, and you may have made an enemy. I think Ryan ultimately is right, and you don't use this.
And I don't think there were any details that said like you have to play this. Who knows? That maybe using the fine print of the advantage. But I would have loved to see like her take Brandon's vote or something and just say like, you're voting for Lauren, because we had the conversation between Matt and Jam Jam about them talking like, why don't we just vote for one of them? And that way, if they split the vote, like, there's just chaos essentially. Maybe that would have influenced some weird actions being taken instead of just status quo.
Yeah, since it was said out loud, I don't think anything could have been done. They could have forced a tie at best, had like Lauren has to vote for Jamie. Honestly, maybe the best move would have been Jamie votes for Lauren. We force a tie, and that way Lauren wouldn't be able to play her extra vote. So I think they could have done a thing like it would have been possible to get Lauren out. So but that would have been better than ultimately what happens. But ultimately, I say don't play this. Regardless, one other note is Matt does not bring his bag to the challenge, and so he doesn't have a shot in the dark when he goes to tribal council. That's kind of garbage. Just let him. It's in your possession. You can play it. Like who cares if you bring your bags to tribal council? I think that's if you don't bring your bag to the challenge. Oh, whoop-de flippin' ding! Like production, just give him the freaking shot in the dark.
Don't they do something like that if they like bury an idol?
Yeah.
Too.
Like if you get tribe swapped and you left your idol back at the old beach, you get it back. It's like your personal item. So it's just, I don't like that production
That's
screwed Matt
dumb.
over like that. Just give him the freaking shot in the dark. Like, oh, you gotta be like, expect the unexpected. Shut up. I have no sympathy for production right now. They all suck. Fire them all. Get a new team.
Unfortunately, this does mean for all future contestants, you got to bring your bag to the challenges now.
Yep, bring your bag everywhere.
I mean, it's not a lesson I wish we had to learn, but it is a lesson we need to learn nonetheless. The bag comes to challenges. The bag comes to tribal. Bring your hardware. Which
makes it, worse for people with advantages because you still have to hide that stuff. You gotta go bury it, unbury it every single day. I'm annoyed. Can you tell?
I can tell that you're annoyed. I'm not nearly so annoyed as you. I'm trying to offset your energy a little bit because the cast is so fun.
The cast is wonderful. I hate watching them get screwed like this.
The cast is so entertaining, and I want them to know that. Even though I think that Franny made a horrendous move, I'm rooting for Franny.
Yeah, I love Franny.
Franny is genuinely who I would love to see win this game. She reminds me of a flawed Amanda Kimmel. A more flawed Amanda Kimmel, and I want her to win, genuinely.
Yeah, I think the best story would be Franny winning.
I agree.
I think there's a decent chance that she wins now.
I hope so.
I was gonna bring that up later at some point, but I do think now that Matt's out of the game, I think that Franny does have actually a good chance to win this game.
Well, so let's get to the vote.
Yeah.
So control vote is played. Vote has to go to Jam Jam, so we know that. 3 votes for Matt, 2 votes for Jam Jam. Lauren does not play her extra vote, which I think was a huge mistake. Get that target off your back, and just to be safe, just do a nice 2-2 split. Easy peasy, but she doesn't play it. She knows that Matt doesn't have the shot in the dark, so that's probably why. But, just to get the target off your back, just play it. I wouldn't be surprised if Lauren goes next.
Yeah, I don't think that the extra vote mattered. Like, she didn't need it, and I think she knew that. So as far as, like, using it to your advantage, nothing was going to happen. It's more just using it so that it's not a disadvantage at this point.
Yeah. Given that her vote got redirected to Jam Jam and not to Jamie, for example, I think it's ultimately fine for her not to play this because they had a way for her to keep it no matter what. And now she can still do the thing where she said, oh, I'm just going to play it next time. And maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But it's something that everyone needs to think about. It depends on how much of a threat mitigation she wants to do for herself.
And actually, I'm actually okay with it now thinking about it because we still have not had a normal vote after the merge. It's just been 2 small like options of people who you can vote out in back-to-back episodes. So next episode, unless there's going to be something else that comes up, we should have a normal vote where everyone is eligible except for obviously the person who has immunity. So maybe that vote comes in handy. Who knows?
We'll talk about this more and who's going next.
There you go.
Let's wrap this episode up because I don't want to talk about it for much longer because I'm so pissed off. Oh, I guess, the first thing is, we should talk about, like, did the right person go home? Obviously. I think it's a big whopping yes.
Yeah, I do think Matt was the right choice, especially because we really saw a fleshed out version of his social game. Everyone apparently loves Matt. Given that he's a part of a duo and he's got that strong social game and he was handed to you on a silver platter without his alliance behind him, yeah, you got to take out Matt. That said, our podcast now, the unintentional Matt singing is now one step closer to the finals again. There is an argument to voting out Jam Jam because of the dynamic with Carolyn and the ending of the pre-merge dynamic. That said, it's still got to be Matt, but I wanted to bring it up.
I don't agree with you. I'm sorry. I think Jam Jam is just so isolated that I don't even think it's, okay, Jam Jam is the second best choice, but there's a huge gap.
And I don't necessarily think it's huge, but I do think it's enough to be clear. It's clear and obvious.
I think Matt is the right choice, but I think that there's a solid argument to take out Jam Jam instead, just because I've been the one saying I don't think Matt is a threat outside of people liking him. I don't think he's a good player, and I think Jam Jam is, like, yes, he has had some moments where he doesn't do the best socially, but people still seem to enjoy being around him for whatever that's worth. So I think that he can receive votes in the end for sure, especially more than Matt if Matt continues to not do anything in this game.
I think this episode thoroughly proved you wrong, Josh, because you like to say this whole season Matt can't win. I think Matt could have easily won.
Nah. I stand by it. And I'm actually mad that Matt went home so that I can no longer be proven right.
Yeah, and that makes it all a moot point. And for those of you on YouTube, you can just see us making faces at Josh, and he's just got his smug look like, yeah, you can't prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You can't.
Josh, you're wrong. You were wrong.
Matt would have been a 1 vote finalist. He would have gotten Franny's vote, and that's it at the end.
Well, depends on who he goes to the end with. I mean, maybe he's a 1 vote finalist, but maybe he wins. Well, what did Twitter think?
Twitter was
pretty
actually
divided.
pretty split here. And so when asking if the right person got voted out, 52.2% of people, real close, said no.
Oh, stop the steal.
Oh, no.
Twitter's wrong.
To be fair, that's probably only like the difference of like 2 or 3 votes, but you know.
Yeah, Twitter was close. Twitter was close. We'll say you were close.
And remember that this is the popular vote.
All right. Best worst player of the episode. I'll kick us off with best player. I have Brandon. He won immunity. He made the clear and obvious right choice and took out Matt.
Yep, I agree 100%. Nothing else to say.
Yeah, especially since I missed the first, third of the episode. I'm just going based off of the vote, and I'm going to agree with you guys.
Worst player, Derek. Who you got?
It's Franny. I didn't think I was going to do this because winning immunity for an entire group of people isn't generally a bad thing, but she should have thrown it. She was in the golden chair. She had the easiest out to seize control of a vote, have a great talking point at Final Tribal Council, and save her closest alliance member. And she didn't take it. And that's on her. Worst for Franny.
Josh?
Oh, and I guess one question first. During the challenge, after Franny was the only one left, did all the other members just kind of go out one after another super quick, or did she have a lot of time?
She had a lot of time.
A lot of time. At least a whole nother transition.
Yeah.
Fine, then I'll go with Franny. I was gonna say otherwise maybe you can consider Heidi, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Franny. Slam dunk, Franny. All right, so let's get into who is going next. Josh, who you got?
Yeah, so I'm gonna buy into the whole Matt Singh plus alliance here. So Taki or Taku or whatever their tribe name, Tika and Soka. I think that they're basically gonna join together and take out a couple people here from Ratu. And I think the person going down is the one that has that extra vote, and I think that's Lauren.
I agree completely. It's Lauren.
If it's not her, it's going to be Jamie by way of Fake Idol.
I can't wait for that. I hope it happens, but I think Lauren's next.
We all went in the same direction, but slightly different for me. I actually just landed on Brandon because they'll see him as a physical threat and they'll just want to get rid of him. And maybe they don't want to target someone with the extra vote because it's going to get played.
All right. Let's get into who can't win the game. There's 2 people left who can't win the game. It's tough because all these people are, besides one, I have pretty great social games going on. They all seem really, really likable. They all seem very, very likable. I'm going to just say Carolyn and Brandon, just because I think we've seen the least socially from Brandon, and Carolyn's just such a wild card. I don't feel great about it. And honestly, Brandon edit-wise, I don't think can win. Carolyn can absolutely win edit-wise, but I think just based on social games, I think Carolyn and Brandon are the 2. But, I do not, stand firmly here.
I'm going to be boring, and I like what Derek said last week. I went with Brandon and Jamie, and I feel very confident in those 2 picks. I do think that Ratu is in trouble. I have Brandon as going next, and I do think that Jamie is kind of a nothing sitting with a fake idol and will eventually just get picked off. But even beyond that, I don't think she's done enough. So I'm comfortable with Brandon and Jamie. As comfortable as I can be, given everything Ryan said is true with them being all very likable.
Yeah, so I finally have to get rid of Matt here and put someone else in. So rest in peace, Matt. I guess I was right. He didn't win the game. So I'm going to stick with Heidi. I mentioned her last week. I'm going to keep going with her. I just haven't seen anything from her. We finally got a little bit this week, but it really actually was not positive. So I'm going to stick with Heidi, and then I'm going to go with Kane. It's odd because we've actually seen more of him than someone like like a Lauren, or at least strategically like a Brandon, but I just haven't seen positive edit from him. So I would have a hard time believing that either of those 2 people would win this game if you asked me, a month from now.
Honestly, I have a hard time believing anyone from Ratu can win. I think they're doomed.
Yeah.
All right. We also have the Survivor pool. Bye, Derek.
Bye.
Josh and I are both still alive in the Survivor pool. I had
You had Heidi and I had Brandon. And to catch people up, it's getting slim out here because neither me or Ryan had picked Matt yet. So Ryan is down to only 5 people he can choose, and I'm down to only 4 people I can choose.
Love it. I love where I'm at.
Yep. So Ryan can select from Carson, Jam Jam, Franny, Brandon, and Kane.
But why don't you go first this time, Josh?
Okay, putting me on the spot. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. Because it wasn't gonna matter based on whatever you said. My 4 only people that I can choose from are Franny, Heidi, Kane, and Lauren. I am gonna go with Heidi here. I don't think that she's really gonna be a target, but I also don't think that she is gonna make it to the end of the game.
I'm gonna go with someone. So I think Tika is set up nicely here to make a move. So I don't think anyone from Tika is going. So I'm gonna go with Jam Jam because I think he's through the danger zone now. I don't think anyone's gonna come for him right now. Maybe later, but right now I think he's through. So Jam Jam is my pick. A little bit of a gamble, but no one's got any advantages that I can pick from.
Yeah, when I looked and saw that you had both Carson and Jam Jam left, I'm like, well, there's 2 free passes for you. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Hopefully.
I mean, we got a little bit of something in the next time on Survivor where Carson's sick, but that's not going to do anything, I don't think.
No. All right. So we had a couple of questions from Twitter.
Yeah. So first of all, and these are kind of just overall for the episode, but Brandon Straight on Twitter mentioned Jamie was sitting right there with, in quotes, an idol. She thinks it's an idol, fake idol, that you could at least force her to play to get a result or send her home with it and keep potential allies. Just kind of tossing that out there as an idea. We kind of discussed a little bit about, deflecting the vote with the forcing someone to vote for someone on Ratu. I don't know how good it would have worked, but I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I might have put a little fear into him. Maybe. It would have been better, I think, than when she ultimately did.
I don't know if this is Heidi's moment to create chaos, because ultimately the vote still goes the way the Ratu 3 on that cohort wanted it. This is not the time for Heidi to create chaos, unless she's going to create chaos for everyone to get everyone looking at her to win. And I don't think that this is the time.
And then our other one came from Blake Miller on Twitter. And I'm just going to read this entire thing. So it says, Jeff keeps hyping up these twists, but they rarely even work in game. The hourglass twist was the exception, but that was so bad they got rid of it. Do you think production just wants an iconic moment and they're maybe trying to force that?
Yep.
They did everything they could to make one happen tonight, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, they want the sizzle. There's no steak. They don't care if there's any steak. They want the sizzle, and it's very obvious that they want to try and create manufacture these moments, and they always ring hollow whenever they try and force it. Going back to Derek mentioned earlier off air, something like Parvati playing the double idol. That was completely just JT being a goon. That wasn't something production forced. You got to let the players play. Let them fight.
And Russell convincing Tyson to not vote the way he was going to. These are the kind of iconic moments that are sizzle with all the steak. And because we've compared Survivor to Mario Party so much, let's do it one more time tonight really quickly. We are in the Mario Party 9 and 10 era of Survivor. For those of you who are not fans of the game, Mario Party 9 and 10, very linear. You all get in a mine cart or something, and you're on a car, and it's just linear, and you go on a straight track to the end of the game, and there isn't a lot in your control. 90% of your choices have been taken away, whereas every other Mario Party game, it's more, I don't want to say open world, but like there's an open board.
It's a board game with lots of choices.
Yeah, you can pick your direction, you can pick how you're going to spend your money, you can pick your items, and 9 and 10 don't really let you do that. So it's just greater production interference to try and shoehorn us into a specific ending, but like Ryan said, all sizzle, no steak.
Mario Party eventually moved out of that era with the most 2 recent games for the most part. They still never got back to the classic era that we love. I'm hoping Survivor can do the same.
Pull out of this just a little bit.
Yeah, let's do something different for 45. I'm sick of this.
You know, that's a pretty niche analogy, but I actually really liked that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sure of our listeners, there will be at least a dozen who understand that.
Mario Party and Survivor have a ton of similarities. I think they're very, very similar games. One of these days I want to do a whole Mario Party podcast, just like a special little Mario Party episode, just talking about Mario Party. I could talk about Mario Party all day long. It's like one of my favorite games. On that note, let's wrap this up. Social media.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Castaway Pod, YouTube and Facebook Castaway Consultants, TikTok Castaway Consultants. Yeah, I think that's everything.
Most importantly, just tell a friend because we want to be your friends who love Survivor as much as you do.
And if you
love you loosely today.
No, you love even when you don't like. Sometimes love is work, Ryan.
Yeah, sometimes love is work.
And
it's a lot of work.
It's time for the work.
Yeah, I'm working very hard tonight.
And if you listen on Spotify, reminder that we're going to be continuing to do our polls and Q&A in there. So feel free to check that out. You just go in the episode description to be able to see that.
And a fun from last week, 100% of the people who voted on that Spotify poll said that, in fact, the right person went home. So they agreed with Twitter. They agreed with us. Josh was the right move.
All right. Nice.
We had one listener say that she does exactly what we do. At the end of the episode, she does a best player, a worst player, who can't win, and who's going next. And I just love the thought of you guys out there playing this fun, ridiculous game along with us as we watch this fun, ridiculous game.
That's the idea. I want people to play along with us, and hopefully they get it. They agree with me all the time.
So when I ask the question, if I have the question on there, who is the best player, feel free to send me your best, your worst, your next, and who can't win.
Yeah, let us know what you think. If you agree or disagree with us, you should agree with me, but I love to hear your wrong answers. All right, this has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.